Hello, this is Melody, the massage therapist, and I want you to meet my Uncle Chuck and Aunt Carol. Uncle Chuck has an amazing story, and I'm just cleaning up the paintbrushes and rollers from finishing up this wheelchair ramp that my friend Rick did 99%, and I did like 1% of this construction. Anyways, this is their story. I hope you like it. Well, it's an amazing story. He's a miracle. Alrighty, be right back. Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi. This is my Aunt Carol and Uncle Chuck. And this is Uncle Chuck's story. And I need to be quiet so you can tell. Back up 17 and a half years ago. What happened, Uncle Chuck?
Oh, the year was 2002. I had a heart attack. And they did a quadruple bypass surgery on me. And told me I would have to have a heart transplant. And if I didn't get a transplant, I had 6 months to live.
And 6 months almost to the day.
Yeah, I had a second heart attack.
Yeah.
And that's when they put this internal cardiac defibrillator in my chest to keep me going. And they told me that would last about 5 to 7 years. Well, all this happened 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know why doctors call their business a practice. So they do the practice.
So now, what happened a couple months ago?
Oh. I have COPD along with my failing heart.
Your heart works at 10%.
Yeah.
Wait, they said it was at 20% then for 17 years, right?
Up and down. They had to put 3 wires into his heart to get it up to 21%, but then this last bout in the hospital took it back down to 10.
So now it's at 10%, and it's, what are things that are difficult for you?
Walking more than 2 or 3 steps without getting out of breath.
And what did you tell me a month ago? Or Aunt Carol,
What?
maybe you told me. That you needed a wheelchair ramp.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes.
Well, I needed the ramp, but
And then I bullied them. I was a bully. I'm going to confess. I bullied Aunt Carol and Uncle Chuck into getting the wheelchair ramp. I'm
Yes.
so
Yeah.
sorry.
Yes.
And they didn't have the money. And I used money I
Which is
probably
tough.
should have saved. But I used money. And now, because of going up and down steps that are hard for you, a wheelchair ramp will make it easier for you to get around. And my
Yes, it
brother
will.
and I are going to attempt to do a GoFundMe account. So, what are some things you're looking for if you were to if when it's successful? Okay, Chad, you hear this? When
Yeah.
our GoFundMe account is successful, what are some
That's
things that you? What are some super crucial things that you need?
well, to get that ramp paid for, and to connect a air conditioning
Unit.
unit in the back. I have the unit. It's electric
It's
air
old.
conditioning, and it's gas heating. Part of the problem, I have a difficult time with the gas heater being in a hallway here.
Because of the oxygen.
Because you're on 24/7 oxygen.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
I sure
He
am.
calls it his green snake.
This green snake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because the rest of it's green.
Because the rest of it's green.
and so that concerns me a little bit. I don't think it'll be any difficulty, but if we can get that unit set up in the back,
Mm-hmm.
the unit is there. All we need to do is have a plumber or an electrician.
Hook it up. So
Yeah,
the
so
problem
that-
is in the heat, it's hard on your heart. The cold is hard on your heart.
Yes.
Going up and down steps is hard on your heart. And being around
Just walking is hard.
walking is hard.
Yeah.
And
He has a hard time just making it to the bathroom or into the kitchen to get a drink.
wow. So a couple months ago, when you were in the hospital, that the doctors, tell me the story about the doctors when they had to come and see you because they couldn't believe you were still alive.
Oh, that was
That
the,
wasn't this last time. That was a time before. Um,
that was the
we
ER
went
doctor.
into the ER and the doctor told me he's not going to make it through the night. And told the doctor, I said, you don't know him. And the cardiologist also said, you don't know him. And 3 days later, or 4, the doctor came up to the 3rd floor and he said, I had to come and see for myself that you were still alive, because he says, I didn't believe it. And he was up, trying to walk around already.
Crazy.
And yeah, but they've told us that a couple of times, and so.
So, Uncle Chuck, you have a hard time believing what people tell you, don't you?
Definitely. Yeah, a cat has 9 lives. I don't know how many I have. But,
We hope a lot more.
yeah, this last time, it turned out to be, several months in and out of the hospital.
Well, he started in November. In July, he was in the hospital. In November, he was in the hospital for a couple of weeks.
2017.
Yeah, 2017. And then in December of 2017, on the 4th of December, he went into the hospital, and he was there for a couple of weeks, and they tried to send him to rehab, and he was at rehab for less than 6 hours and back in the hospital. Couldn't move, couldn't do anything, just was really bad. So then he was in, and all this time he's in ICU. So then he went back to ICU, and he was there for another week and a half, and they sent him to therapy at another place, and he was there for 9 days and ended up back in the ICU. And so he did get to come home on the 5th of January of 2018.
Wow. So
But
what
this
about those
happens.
medical expenses?
They're astronomical.
So is it covered
No.
by Medicare?
Well, Medicare and Humana.
We end up paying 18 to 20%.
So what are your finances like? Do you guys both live on Social Security?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
you
and
work.
I have a small job, but it doesn't pay very much.
Mm-mm.
And I do that so that we can eat.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I don't work, there's just not enough money to go around for anything.
So what do you want the GoFundMe to do? And also your vehicle needs
Right.
$4,000 worth of repairs.
The transmission's gone. It's a beautiful car. It's like new inside and out. 2 years ago, something went wrong with it, and I was told it was the engine. So I took it into this engine place, and they said at the beginning it would be $3,200, and so
So
I
we believed it, yeah.
I was, trying to do that, and I worked hard and saved and scrimped and everything for months to get that, and we did, and then it ended up going up to over $6,000. They just kept jacking up the price and jacking up the price and jacking up the price. And then when I finally got it back, they said that I had to drive it for so many miles and then take it into them for an oil change. That if I didn't take it to them, that it would void the warranty on it, which was for a couple of years. So I took it back into them, and when I was coming home, it was doing the same thing it did before. It was dying at the light, it was making noise, and I didn't want to take it back to them because in the meantime I have seen that this shop is being picketed. This engine shop is being picketed, and they've been on the TV as not being reputable, and
Wow.
so I didn't want to take it back to them, so it's basically sat for 2 years, and I've been driving an old car that doesn't have air and doesn't have heat. and it's hard for me to take him to the doctor
Yeah.
in the summertime because just going a mile or so to the doctor, it's just too hot, and it's hard on his heart. So I really want to get this fixed. The transmission's out. We took it to the dealership, and they're actually cheaper than the places around that
Oh my
I called.
goodness.
I know,
Oh my
really.
gosh. So you know what? So for now, I believe in miracles. I believe in big miracles.
Me too. I
And
do. I've always believed in miracles. It's a miracle that he's alive.
right? He
Yes.
is the miracle.
He is the
So-
miracle.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be another miracle if we get this GoFundMe account going. But we're gonna do our best.
Yes.
And this is gonna be a YouTube video, and I'll take pictures of the ramp and show them the
Okay.
ramp. So it's starting out with trying to pay for the wheelchair ramp, which my friend Rick did for $20 an hour when he usually charges $40. That's a miracle. And he lives a whole block away. That's another miracle. And
So it's
he was
close.
available, and his own back is seriously bad. So,
So we just really
there's so many
appreciate
miracles
him.
in this
Yes.
whole ramp to getting it done. So it's starting out with paying for the ramp, but so basically it was $1,000 for the ramp, and even if we could raise enough for half to pay for the materials or whatever. Anyways, thank you for listening, and
Yes.
it's a
thank
new
you for
day
listening.
to be the blessing.
Oh, I didn't get to mention that we've had to, in November, we had to move to a different home in a different community because I hired somebody to fix a hole in our roof, and they scraped the whole thing off, and they were going to put a whole new roof on, and it was going to be so wonderful, and I thought I could trust this person, and while my husband was in the hospital, intubated and unconscious and in ICU, it started the monsoon, and it rained inside my house as much as it rained outside my house because he had not fixed it at all. And when I went up there to see and to put something on to keep it from raining in my house, he had put a clear coat on, and that was it. And a clear coat won't keep it from raining. So we ended up with mold because I couldn't go in and clean and everything because my husband needed me at the hospital. And by the time I got to where I could leave him, we had mold growing, and he can't do mold. It's not healthy for anybody, but especially for him. So I couldn't even bring him home from the hospital. He had to go to my girlfriend's house. And we stayed there till we came here. And that's why we need these things, because the other house had the air conditioning set up at it, and the heater was right, and everything was good. But this